Gentlemen, the time has come once again to discuss things.
Well, on that note, hi everyone. Welcome to a mini-sode of Geeky Gentlemen. I am Sid Part 2, and joining me today is Esplin227. Alec, welcome back.
Good to be here.
Yeah, so, this is gonna be a video, and we're probably gonna get a little bit into the Xbox One just on the whole, but there's one aspect of it that I really do kind of want to talk about. It's going to be our main focus. So Xbox One has been announced and it's going to be released soon, and the big controversy of this announcement, more so than the online connection, more so than all these other problems that a lot of the gamers are having with it, is that it's going to essentially phase out used games. They say it's only something that the publishers are going to be able to do, but I mean, the publishers aren't making money on used games, so they're likely to phase it out. So we wanted to just talk about that and just get a little bit more into it. So, Alec, what are your thoughts on the matter?
Alright, first, to put this in context, because a lot of people don't quite understand. If you watch a lot of Xbox, a lot of commentary on the whole Xbox press conference, a lot of people are like, they're just like, oh, it sucks, it's wrong, it's bad. And while I agree, this is not the way to handle the situation, if you don't at least know what was happening and how used games, or rather how a monopoly was actually seriously hurting the gaming industry, then it seems like Xbox or Microsoft just pulled this out of their ass to make more money. What was happening with used games is because stores like GameStop, and this is not a treatise on GameStop, they're not bad because they're GameStop. They're bad because they're a monopoly. Any monopoly is inherently bad. It could have been Electronic Boutique that won, or your local game store that became a franchise.
Yeah, if McVan's was a monopoly, I would have been shocked.
Yeah. Yes. Well, but, you know, GameStop was someone's local game store. I'm assuming at some point there was one of them.
Yeah.
But the point is what they're doing is, when you buy a used game, the original publishers get 0% of the profit. GameStop gets 100%, no matter how much they sell it for. Yep. So while it's great for us, and a lot of people just go ahead and accept this, but they're forgetting that there was a point in which we rented games. When we rented games, the original developer always got a cut. That is to say, they knew they could make a game, and even if it wasn't a blockbuster, they can try new things. Because if it became a cult classic and maybe didn't sell out that first month, people would rent it to try it. And that's how we got a lot of great series. They weren't necessarily a few things that started out as cult classics, which aren't so much anymore, that are relatively recent, that people... Fatal Frame... Shadow Hearts.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the thing is, so GameStop just got so big that it was able to phase out a lot of these small used game stores. And the publishers don't like that they're not making any money. And, you know, it's kind of scaring them away from consoles. Because, I mean, it's been this way with computers for a while. You know, you can't really replay, or you can't, sell a used computer game that like as once you put in that activation code, it's over for a computer game.
Yeah,
you know?
but there's also one more thing to mention. It doesn't just scare publishers away. What it does is it creates a situation where if you're a publisher and you're going to make a game for a console, are you going to make the game you know is going to sell 1,000,000 copies the first week? For instance, are you just going to make another Call of Duty, which you know will sell new immediately? Or are you going to take a chance on not a used game, on a maybe a developer that's not so well known, or a new idea, even just a new IP that comes at it a different way? You know, the thing that drives gaming innovation. You're not going to take a chance on that because you know what's going to happen. What's going to happen is that people are going to buy your competitors' A-list games new, and for your not
hot game.
Yeah, not so God, the word A-list mainstream game, they're just gonna buy it used. They're gonna wait till the price goes down and buy it used. Again, in the past that wasn't a problem. They would just rent the game and you still got a cut. But if they wait and they buy it used, you get nothing. So why ever take a chance on something that's not an A+ game, unless you're working with someone like, say, BioWare, where you know no matter what they're going to make a profit even if their game, the innovation doesn't pan out. That's the problem, and that is what Microsoft... That is why... It's not why Microsoft did that exactly. Microsoft is not the publishers. Microsoft is the main company. They're going to make money either way.
No matter what. Yeah, I mean, it's not going to matter if you have a
what it does mean is that Microsoft can do this to make a little bit more money, and they know that the publishers will support them in it. Why would a publisher fight back and be like, I want to make less money? No, it's...
Exactly, and that's the thing, though. But this is great for Microsoft. This is great for the publishers. You know, I'm sure Rocksteady and everybody aren't complaining. Rocksteady, Ubisoft, whatever. But at the same time, I mean, this sucks for us, the consumer. And, you know, I'm not sure how great a long-term plan this is, because I can't tell you the last time I bought a new... Wait, no, actually, I lied. The last time I bought a new game was to get the collector's edition of God of War Ascension, which I'm kind of disappointed by. Yeah. But aside from like that, I don't remember the last time I bought a new game. I always get used because it's $60 for a brand new game.
Exactly. I operate the opposite way. When it comes to games that I hear are good but aren't necessarily mainstream, I kind of go out of my way to buy those new if I can, and you can get new games cheaper online than you could at GameStop. Whereas with AAA titles, I know the price is gonna go down eventually. Those I just wait and get used, but usually I end up buying them new. But like that, I don't know when I've bought a new game. That could just be because I'm broke, but that's beside the point. The point is, okay, this might... It all depends on how this pans out. Because if this actually does create a situation where there is now demand to be able to rent games the way there used to be, it might actually be good.
I don't know, I don't see it happening. It just seems like the only way you can get a game with this system is to buy it brand new. And then it creates a whole other host of issues, because... I mean, what if I have a PS3 and my friend down the street has a PS3 and I want to take my copy of Mortal Kombat or whatever over there and I want to play it on his system? Do I have to re-enter my activation code? Do I have to sign him out of his thing?
Yeah, and that's definitely the problem, because... don't get me wrong, I wasn't defending Microsoft on this. They have handled this in the absolute worst way you can, outside of just saying...
No, I mean, I agree with it. I mean, I understand why it's going on, and it's not a bad argument for why they're doing it. I just think that it's a really like shitty thing to do to your consumers.
Yeah, and it's not going to work. This, make no mistake, this plan isn't actually going to work.
I think we're going to see a huge increase in gaming piracy. Like, I think we're going to see, like, Dreamcast level of gaming piracy again.
It's going to be crazy. What else is, a lot of people just aren't going to buy the Xbox One. People forget the past relatively quickly. They convince themselves that because things have been... this has only been the case for 2 generations that we had the big 3. Before that, we only had the big 2. We had Sega and Nintendo. And before that, for a little while, we had nothing. The whole console industry almost collapsed. So it's actually quite possible that Xbox will simply fail. It's not... their foothold is not so unbelievably... like, America was the only driver of Xbox, let's be honest. In Japan, it sold abysmally. Even despite all their pandering, they tried to have a lot of JRPGs, but no one in Japan was really interested in their system. It just didn't work. It didn't.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Xbox did a lot of stuff that goddamn, I wish PlayStation would do. Like, I still think it's brilliant that I can play my music over a game on an Xbox.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know why I can't do that on a PlayStation. That pisses me off. Like, it's legitimately annoying, because I have the music files there on the PlayStation.
But you can't do anything. Oh, no. It doesn't... It just doesn't make sense. The way they designed their OS is... I mean, it's even like a teaser, because you can even go into the menu system.
Right.
But you actually can't click any of that, because if you do it, you're just doing that instead of what you want to do.
Yeah, no, it's annoying. It's... Xbox definitely brought some stuff to the gaming industry that's really important, and they're really... in my mind, they're the driver more so than Sony was of creating the gaming console as the, like, center of the living room. Like, they're the drivers of putting... it's like the TV put itself in American living rooms and eventually spread across the world. Put itself in the living room. That's the place where the TV goes. Every living room has one, unless you're one of those weird people, you know?
See, that's interesting, because I saw Sony as that, because Sony...
well, no, I mean, Sony started to with, like, making the PS2 DVD and a CD player as well as a gaming system, but I think Xbox 360 really took off, or Xbox One, damn, see, that's really annoying. I think the original Xbox really started to do that because it was the first system that, you could do multiple things, run multiple apps at the same time, essentially. And it let you play DVDs, CDs, games, and you could supplement and do different things at different times with them. And that was really clever, and it was the first system that... I mean, yes, PS2 had online capabilities, but no one ever did that.
Oh, yeah, no.
Like, I got on Time Splitters online, and there were like 5 people, all of them from Japan, on the PS2. So no one ever did that. So
yeah.
Xbox was the one that created the online gaming community from the console.
Yeah, that's definitely something Xbox has. That's where I would agree with you. Also, Sony, with the PS3, started to take it a little bit towards... I mean, Xbox 360 failed trying to be the living room system because they couldn't play Blu-rays, essentially.
Yeah,
that was the new format. They failed spectacularly with that. You know what I mean? But
yeah, I mean that's what really I think kept PlayStation ahead of it while they worked out their kinks with the overheats. Is the fact that it was a frickin' Blu-ray player.
Yeah. Well, not to mention the fact that Xbox had the red ring of death.
That too.
I mean,
yeah.
The PS3 had its overheats.
Dude. I gotta describe this. It was the funniest thing I think I've ever seen in my entire life related to gaming. So it was the red ring of death, and underneath it said, "I can't let you play that, Dave."
Oh, that's awesome. Oh.
It's so perfect. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I think the third generation consoles probably came about a year sooner than it should have, because the burnouts were settled by a year into the PlayStation 3, and the Xbox never quite finished with the Red Ring of Death, and they kind of just pretended it didn't exist.
Yeah, they're like, our new system has less of a... It's like, I'm sorry, what? You got rid of the thing? Yeah, we
Well,
totally...
actually,
It's like, you're kind of mumbling to the side there. What? I don't... What?
the thing about the Red Ring is it was a built-in flaw to break the system down, but it was supposed to happen after your warranty expired.
Yeah.
The PlayStation's overheating was just because they kept the I don't know, what do you call that, the power deck or whatever, inside the system as opposed to making it part of the cord like it is on the Xbox.
Yeah, that was that was an oversight, especially since it doesn't use the same power cord as the PS2. So why do that? It that didn't make sense to me. I'm not.
Yeah, it's just there are small things like that, and I honestly think the PS3 and the Xbox 360 came out about a year too soon, respectively.
Yeah.
The Wii was perfect. I mean, you know, the biggest problem the Wii had is people kept breaking their TVs with their damn controllers.
Yeah. Though the Wii's graphics were a little bit, but it mainly
It wasn't
gameplay.
intended to be,
Yeah.
it wasn't intended to be graphically equal to those. It was really just, you know, it was a PS2 with, you know, motion gaming.
Well, basically they did what they did was ingenious. If you want a peripheral to succeed, you build your system around it. You make it a huge part and something that changes everything. And the Wii U controller is actually pretty interesting. I didn't understand what the concept. It's like, what do you mean you can't take it and leave? What's the point of having a little tablet thing? But you can actually just swipe the screen down to that if someone comes in, and they can change the TV, and you can be playing the game while they're watching something like that. That is ingenious. I gotta give them that. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, but let's get back to the whole used game thing here. So, like, I don't know, I do think that this is going to lead more to piracy before they change their like, I honestly think it'll be another system until they back off of the elimination of used gaming. Maybe they're just hoping to, you know, give it a big middle finger to GameStop. I don't know, but I think we're going to see an increase in piracy that's going to just completely cripple new game sales as well as used game sales. And frankly, I think they kind of brought it on themselves.
Yeah, no, they did it to themselves. They had two ways they can handle that. They could one, it's not going to work because in order to do that successfully, these companies need to work together. They need to say, we need to figure out how to make it to where we get paid and the publishers and developers get paid every time a game is resold. Because
I think that has to be a law-based thing or something.
That's what I mean. The companies need to put away their rivalries long enough to actually work together, because they should be getting royalties. There's no question about it. In any other medium, you get royalties.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this should be something that would only affect GameStop, but not the consumer. I think it should be something... I honestly think it should have been a class action suit against GameStop for, you know, the trading of used games and stuff like that. Because, I mean, you know...
What's funny is Microsoft brought this upon themselves also because they knew they couldn't even propose to the other companies to work together because of how they treat the other companies. Microsoft is just... They do not treat other companies well. You know what I mean? So... It's like, they're not going to work with you. I wouldn't work with Microsoft unless... I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like, it seems to me that the way to do it would have been to make it so GameStop had to pay essentially, I don't know, maybe a fee or something in order to sell used games.
Yeah, make it a percentage of what they sell. So let's say they
something
sell
like that,
and you get 5%.
And I think you can do it if
it should be simpler.
If there was some kind of let me just get this thought out there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
If there's some kind of regulation at which you only had to pay a percentage to the developers if and only if your chain was in more than 3 states, That seems fair because I mean, there's no sense in penalizing mom and pop used game stores.
Yeah.
They
Well, I
shouldn't
mean,
go into
I
business.
understand that, but if the penalty, I wouldn't mind. Like, let's say a used game. I wouldn't mind paying 25 for a used game, knowing the developer gets that extra $5 rather than 20.
Yes.
As long as the percentage is small enough, it could apply universally. I'm not saying go crazy, but I'm pretty sure even a mom and pop store can pay.
Yeah, I'm sure they could.
5%
I'm just
for each.
saying.
It should be around what it was for renting, because renting was an amazing system, which benefited everyone. Uh, you know what I mean? It just and the buying used games is the only thing that actually hurt renting, really.
Yep.
Because
I mean, at a certain point, it's like renting a game though is such a hard thing to do, because unless you're really good, you're gonna end up spending more money renting it than you would just buying it.
buying used, yeah.
Buying it new sometimes. I remember there was one kid used to live down the street, and he'd rent this game, and he was terrible at it, but he really wanted to beat it, so he rented it like 5-6 times. And he was late bringing it back every time, so he could have bought it brand new, and it would have been cheaper.
Yeah. No, but
Now, certainly that's an exception, but my point still stands.
yeah, and well, you're actually right. Well, for that kid, it was for new games, so that's a little bit extreme. But for most people, that is indeed the case when it comes to the prices of used games. That's why they ended up just buying it used. They're like, I can rent this game twice, or I can just buy it used for like $5 more than it would be to rent it twice and possibly pay a late fee if I miss it. So yeah, that's exactly what it is. Just normally, I mean, that kid kind of sucked. It's normally just with used games, but but the principle is the same. And again, what we need is clear. We need a way for, like, GameFly is trying.
Yeah.
Okay, the problem with GameFly is the monthly subscription. That's why I'm not subscribed to GameFly. If I was, I would have wasted 5 months, because I've been pretty much just playing the same game, and it's not a game. It's too hard to activate and deactivate GameFly. They need to do it per game. I need to be able to rent games the way I used to. I go into a game store and rent a game, and it needs to be GameFly's price points. The problem with the GameFly model is it's like the Netflix model, in that it's set up to where they know you're not going to rent something always. You're going to waste some of that potential money. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is, with Netflix, I mean, they really saved themselves with streaming, because I wouldn't have gotten Netflix if it was mail only.
Yeah, well, I'm one who actually had Netflix back when before.
Yeah, I gotcha. I'm just saying I mean, once we get to the point where you can get the equivalent of streaming a game, once internet connections and processing power on consoles is fast enough that you can download an entire game and have
that's what the PS4 is supposed to be doing.
Yeah, but let me just... Once you can get to the point where you can download an entire game in just a couple minutes or an hour at the most, then it's got like essentially an expiration date on it or what have you, then you're starting to actually work really well. The problem with, downloading full games is like, I don't want to pay the same price as if I went and got the damn disc, because I'm either going to have to delete it or something, and it's just, it doesn't retain any value, Yeah,
well, I wouldn't mind. Basically, what they need to do is, let's say it's a $60 game, make it $50 for just downloading it, and for $60 you can download it, and then they mail you the game.
Yeah,
let me play it immediately, and then you go ahead and mail me the game so I can play it at any point. Like that. But the use it puts me in such a difficult position, because it's like seeing two terrible people beat the shit out of each other, and you have to pick a side. It's like one guy has been beating the shit out of the other one for a long time, and you're glad when the other guy, even though he's kind of an asshole, fights back. But the way he fights back is like carving the other dude's eyes out with a knife. It's like, oh, now I'm really torn because you're going way overboard. Like, should I call the cops? What do I do? Like, it's like
Yes,
that's the
call the
thing. It's
cops.
just like a battle
Call the
between
cops,
two
Alex.
absolute assholes right now. You know?
Alec, you should call the cops. Xbox is phasing out used games. What do I do?
I should do that. I should
Yes,
do that.
You should, because the police will know.
Yeah.
You won't get in any trouble. I promise. You have my word.
All right. I guess that's the thing that's happening then. What was I even talking about? Why are we talking about calling the? Oh yeah, about that. But you get what I'm saying, right? It's like, on one hand, the problem was real. On the other hand, I think Microsoft would have done this even if the problem wasn't real. I think they always wanted to do something like this, and now that the problem is becoming serious, because again, the used game thing. How many more? And you know, the only thing that saved it. Oh, here's another thing. The only thing that was saving this issue was that developers are like, you know what? If we're not going to make money that way, then we're not going to make AAA games. We'll make indie games. And little by little, the indie games graphics were getting better. And the indie games that weren't graphics heavy had to be excellent gameplay. So they were getting great, right?
Yeah.
What does Microsoft do? You know what they did with the indie games, right?
No.
You're going to have to go to Nintendo or Sony because you have to have a publisher now. You can't do indie games on Xbox. They're not going to have like an Xbox market thing for indie games unless those indie developers have a publisher. So now they're like, not only do you have to buy new games, but the people who would have been helped by this, yeah, we're not even going to accommodate them. We don't care. So Xbox is just... Seriously? Now you don't even want indie games on your console? Or are you trying to fail? Are you actively trying to destroy your business model?
It seems possible. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just about out of stuff I wanted to say on this. I understand why they're doing it, and their reasons are good. But
this is a terrible way to do it.
Not just that, but it's like it's shitting on the consumer to get back at a third-party business based on your retail. You know?
Yeah, no, it's just the worst possible way they can handle it, screwing us over.
Yeah,
that's really just what it comes down to. I mean, Sony and Nintendo. Oh, Sony, we're not sure. They haven't said it, but I'm pretty sure when they see the backlash.
As I looked at something last night, it seems like it's good. They're still going to allow used games to exist.
Excellent.
I think part of that is like they were maybe playing around with the idea, and then they saw the reaction.
Yeah.
Like, well, fuck that noise.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully Sony gets smarter, because a lot of people don't realize that Sony... Well, I don't want to get into it, but Sony really just got big out of luck. They, because Nintendo were assholes, and didn't use...
Sega was shooting itself in the foot. I mean, your company's in trouble when your CEO has to give away all his stock to the company or in order to save it, and it's still failing.
Really? Of what?
Of Sega. That's what happened with Sega.
Oh, Sega. Yeah. No, I was actually talking about Nintendo.
Oh, okay.
Nintendo wouldn't have had a competitor if they wouldn't have... They promised to use CD in their system, knowing that they weren't going to. That's the difference. They knew that they actually weren't going to. They just didn't want a competitor. And so... Sony was like, fuck you, we're making our own.
Sony's like chairman or whatever, he was like, oh, fuck you, you insult us, we will not take these insults. And now on that incredibly racist impersonation of a Japanese businessman, We're gonna end. Oh, Alec, I just had one thing that I wanted to get your thoughts on before we finished up.
All right.
What do you think of the name?
Oh my freaking god! It's so fucking arrogant and obnoxious. Thank you for reminding me. Xbox One? It's not the Xbox One! It's not the fucking Xbox. You know what the Xbox One is? The Xbox One is when you take the Xbox and then do the, of course, like streamlined version like they did with the PS1. This is not the Xbox One! Oh my god! And you know what? They were so obnoxious during the whole conference. They're like, we're calling it the One because this is the one console you're gonna need. And they kept saying, anytime they brought up something new, it's like, we're the ones doing that. And this is the... Oh my god, that's so fucking obnoxious! It's so obnoxious! Oh my god! You know, at least when Nintendo went with the Wii instead of the Revolution, it was the opposite of obnoxious. It was out of being humble. Because they're like, if we had these control schemes plus graphics that were at least up to par with the other systems, then we would have called it the Revolution. Or even like a hard drive in it. But they didn't have those two crucial things. So they were actually being humble about it. They're like, yeah, let's go with the Wii. You know what I mean? You know, but Microsoft is just like the dick who's just like in the party like, I am the life of this party. It's like, no, you're a douchebag. That is all you are. Oh my god. Xbox One.
Okay, y'all good?
Alright, I'm alright.
Okay. Shh. Thanks everybody for listening.
Alright, thank you.
Until next time, we are your geeky gentlemen. We will be discussing things.